theoretically, if I have given an author 5 stars before, then today will be a success, right? Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brie and this is For Pause in a Book. Today we are doing another new releases vlog. We are going to be looking at 3 different books that were published in May and reading them and seeing if I love them. I'm trying to stay on top of my new releases. I tend to be really bad at this. I buy a lot of books and then I don't read them right away, or I wait until after some of the reviews have started coming in and then I decide, I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm actually gonna like that. So this has been a really good opportunity for me to read books as soon as they come out before, you know, a lot of the reviews come in. Obviously I can't do that with every single book that comes out in the month because that would be a lot. But I try to pick 3 every single month, and I also try to make it themed. So this month, the theme kind of fell in my lap, and it is authors that I have given 5 stars before. It doesn't mean that I have liked every single thing that the author has written, but I have given the author 5 stars before. I have 3 different genres today, which is exciting. So first up, we have Overgrowth by Mira Grant. This is her newest sci-fi horror. It's supposedly like plant horror, which is exciting. It's interesting. Into the Drowning Deep is one of my favorite sci-fi horror books. Really out there. I have read that book twice. I gain something from it every single time I read it. It's hella queer, but also has such an interesting commentary and like such intricate storylines. Obviously, Mira Grant is the pen name for Seanan McGuire, and I love The Wayward Children as well. Obviously, it's a very different vibe. That's why she writes it under 2 different pen names, but I am very excited about this one. The second one that we're going to be reading is The Tenant by Freida McFadden. I did make sure that I went out and got the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition for this because this teal color is gorgeous. Now the original cover is also really pretty, but this is just like my vibe, okay? Now Freida McFadden, I have kind of been all over the map with her. She is generally a really fun author and I at least am entertained by her stories. Her plot twists are immaculate, okay? They are so interesting, and it's one of those things that you're like, okay, anything could happen, and yet I'm still surprised. I gave The Teacher 5 stars. That one is controversial because I think a lot of people don't like that one as much, but it was just so messed up that I couldn't not give it 5 stars. I also gave 4.5 stars to The Housemaid's Secret, which is the second Housemaid, but most of her books have been at least 3.5 to 4 stars. If nothing else, this is going to be a fun time. This is the first book that I have read from her that the main point of view is a male. Most of her main characters are women, which is even more fun because it's we support women's rights and women's wrongs. But this one, the main character, or at least the character that you were introduced to at first, is male. And it's about this man who gets fired from his job and they end up having to get a tenant because they're running out of money and things are not going well with that. Everything's just kind of slipping into madness. Very excited about this one. And then lastly, we're going to end with Dream On, Ramona Riley by Ashley Herring Blake. Again, hella queer, right as we are coming up to Pride Month. I love the Bright Falls trilogy, okay? Delilah Green, Astrid Parker, Iris Kelly, I love those women. It's probably one of my favorite contemporary romances out there. However, she came out with a Christmas romance last year and I only gave it 2 stars. I did not like it. A lot of that is because of the trope. It was a second chance romance and that's such a hard sell for me. There's a lot of things can go wrong with that trope and you really have to sell me on why these 2 broke up and should be back together, and in that one I just don't think she did. But I talked about that one ad nauseum. So this one I am hopeful for. I'm hoping that we get back on track, that we come back to the humor and the banter and the just coziness that the Bright Falls trilogy has. This is kind of a second chance romance, but not really, in the fact that they knew each other as kids and then they just went their separate ways and lived their own lives, and then now they are coming back to each other. Maybe they remember each other, maybe they don't. I think that this is going to be a really, really fun book to read as we are starting to warm up. We are getting, into almost summer, I say, as it is 50 degrees outside and raining. Maybe I need this just for the sunny disposition. But anyway, that was a very long introduction. Let's get into the vlog. Hello, I am 50% of the way through Overgrowth and I have thoughts, I have feelings, I just don't know what they are, because this book I've been on a roller coaster of emotions, honestly, for this book. So the pacing of this book is really all over the place, okay? The very beginning of it starts out with a child literally dying, and it being a little bit graphic, right? Because the plant literally eats her. And then we end up like, we kind of fast forward to when she's an adult and she knows that she's an alien. She's like, I'm not human. I'm not, but no one really believes her. They're just like, you're funny, kind of thing. And she has this dead end job. She has, she's working customer service. She doesn't like the people that she works with. They kind of all, pick on her. And, it kind of becomes this like quirky millennial type story, almost with like a lit fic feel to it. And then we like go back into being this crazy dystopian sci-fi thing. And it's funny, we're rewatching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now, and this really feels like that, in that, like, not the Inhumans, but that's kind of what it is. It's like, oh, she's an alien, not an Inhuman. But there's a lot of commentary about their rights as people, even though, like, they look human, they aren't. So they don't have rights as citizens, things like that. And so, like, there's a lot of, like, commentary. The title for this book, I think, was, like, Resident Evil meets Annihilation. I'm not sure that that's 100% accurate, but I would say that it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yes, they are cannibalistic plants. And that's awkward, weird. This has been like all over the place, right? So I'm only 50% of the way into the book, and we are already dealing with this, like, they're escaping out of a NASA prison, which is a thing that exists in this book. Didn't know that was something. They're basically using her as an experiment, as a way to kill the other, like a weed killer. They kind of joke about it. And so it's this weird juxtaposition of being like this end of the world dystopian social commentary, and also quirky millennial humor. I don't know how I feel about it. I've kind of gone back and forth, right? I think there was like a time where I was like, this book is fine. It's like, it's kind of like not taking itself too seriously, and I wasn't sure that's what I really wanted out of it. I hate motorcycles so much. But now that I'm about 50% of the way in, like, I'm having a great time. It also kind of feels like the last book, maybe like the last two books of the Voices in the Snow series by Darcy Coates, just kind of has that like sci-fi feel to it. I would say that this is probably more sci-fi leaning than Into the Drowning Deep. I would classify this as a sci-fi with horror elements, whereas Into the Drowning Deep I would think would be like a horror with sci-fi elements. And it's definitely more like quirky and kooky than Into the Drowning Deep was. It has like a stream of consciousness feel to it, where we're like in the head of our main character, who is an alien, and she's like finding out things about life and about, growing up as like, looking like a human but not actually being a human. It's a different vibe than Into the Drowning Deep. And I think maybe that was my problem at the beginning, was that I was expecting that, and now that I've kind of figured out what this book actually is, I'm having a great time with it. I'm having fun with it. So that's my update at 50%. What I do think is that this book is moving at a very weird pace. Obviously, we start out with like a very graphic, traumatizing experience, and then we kind of really slow down and kind of figure out daily life as this, young woman. And now I actually thought I was much farther into the book. I thought that I was like, getting into that like third act conflict, but then I was like, oh, it's 50%. We still have a lot of book to go. So I'm really curious to see where we're gonna go from here. And I do think that Into the Drowning Deep did the same thing, whereas like there was just a lot of different moving pieces, and I'm sure that that's what's gonna happen here. But one thing that I think is really interesting is that they are like counting down to the invasion. So that that's the destination. that that's what's gonna happen at the end of the book. It's, it's not hidden from that. And so the tension is building as we go along, and you 11 days till the invasion, 9 days till the invasion kind of thing. And so she used it as this tension builder, and it was like, honestly, extremely smart plotting. So anyways, I'm going to continue reading it, but I meant to check in much earlier and I didn't get a chance to, and so I was like, well, 50% sounds like a great place to talk to you. I'll let you know when I have something else to say. Hello, I have finished Overgrowth. I am struggling with my rating of this book because I both had a really good time with it, and also it wasn't what I was expecting. And I think that's probably a me thing. I think you probably need to go into this book and realizing it's not like Into the Drowning Deep. It definitely has a more quirky vibe to it, a more like stream of consciousness pacing to it. And I think in the middle it really lulled, Whereas like I think the pacing of Into the Drowning Deep is just so phenomenally done. And even though it's 500 pages, because you're dealing with a huge cast of characters and like there's a lot of stories that are going on, so it fills up that pace really well. And even though we have quiet moments, we still like the plot is still moving. That book is just nothing will live up to that, I think, is the problem. This one, the main character, while she has this little found family, she has these friends, the story is about her and then also like her people that are coming in. And I think it had like a lot to say. There was a lot of commentary. It is kind of a book that hits you over the head with the commentary. The commentary being discussion of illegal immigration and human rights and you know, if you have rights, if you're not a citizen, that whole thing, and just basically like treating others differently because of how they look, how they act. Obviously that's a very poignant conversation, and normally I would be like, oh, I don't know if I like that, I don't know, I would rather a book not beat me over the head with its commentary. However, have we seen the world in which we live in? It's a dumpster fire. And even though we've explained things to people, they're still really dumb. I'm sure that the people that watch my channel are not those people, because I don't know why you would be watching my channel if you were, but spelling things out might be what's necessary. I think I'm gonna sit probably between, like, if I gave out quarter stars, it would be like 3.75. So I don't know, it'll probably be like a 3.5, but rounded up to 4 on Goodreads kind of a thing. I don't know, like there were parts that I really loved about this book, but then there were parts that were either like trying to go too fast, like we lulled for a long time and it was a little too slow, and then we tried to like put the entire book's action into the last third, so then I was like getting whiplash. Yeah, probably a 3.5. 3.5. That's what I'm gonna go with. I still liked it. I still enjoyed it. I will still highly recommend it to people, especially if you like that style of book, if you like the quirky millennial humor. Now, what I will say is that this is not a horror book, and so I think there might be some people that go into it thinking it's horror, because Into the Drowning Deep definitely has like a horror vibe to it. This one is definitely sci-fi that has some creepy, horrific elements to it, because like there is the, you know, Little Shop of Horrors plant thing going on, if you know, you know. So that's like horrifying, but because of the nature of the story, because we were talking about NASA, we're talking about, you know, space, like it's a sci-fi book. I'm classifying this in my genre blanket as a sci-fi book. There's that. I don't know what else to say. I'm probably like beating a dead horse at this point, but I enjoyed it. If it sounds like it's something that you would be interested in, if that sounds up your alley, then I'd say pick it up, because Mira Grant does not disappoint, especially when it comes to like characters and relationships and things like that, and also queer representation. Chef's kiss. I love that 2 of the 3 books that I'm reading in May are, you know, queer books leading into Pride Month. We love to see it. I think I'll probably make my new release vlog for June, like actually Pride, like queer books, just because, you know, of Amazing Readathon and everything. That's my update. We're gonna read the next book now. I've got some like fun, moody blue lights behind me, so it's probably messing with the white balance, but it's fun, and I just had those put up, so here we are. I am more than 50% of the way through this book. I should have come to you earlier, but when I started, I was like, oh, it's broken up into parts. I will finish part 1 and then I'll come talk to you, because Freida tends to have a template, I guess, of like switching gears when part 2 starts, and like there's a huge twist and then we kind of like backpedal. And so I was like, I want to get there. Unfortunately, that was 240 pages into a 320 page book, so it was more than 50%. So I apologize for that. But I'm having a great time with this. So let's just chat. This is the first one, I think, that I've read from her where the main character, or the POV character, is male. Most of the ones she writes are female. And one of the things that I am finding intriguing about this book is that I don't trust a single character. I don't trust Whitney. I don't trust Krista. I don't trust the guy that is like his buddy at work. I don't trust our main character. I don't trust the guy at the diner. Like, nobody. I don't trust anybody. And so because of that, there's so many things that could happen. What I didn't think would happen was what happened. That one wasn't my top thought, which is good, because one of the things that I had said about The Boyfriend is that it was a little bit too predictable in its unpredictability, where it was just like kind of so far out there that you're like, yep, she would probably do that. This one is not doing that, which I appreciate. So I really want to know how we're going to do this and how it's all going to tie back up. And I want to finish this book tonight. Let's see how much time I have left. I'm listening to it on Spotify and the audiobook is fantastic. It's duet narration. So when you're seeing the text messages, it's like he will say his part and then she says her part. So that's kind of cool. I have 2.5 hours left. I think that's at 1x speed. So theoretically, I should be able to finish this tonight. I am packing bookmarks. I have like a bunch of bookmarks that I need to finish packing up. I sent out the first order of like 200 or something like that. And now I have like maybe 30 or 40 more that I need to get out. So that's exciting. The bookmarks are selling well. That's just my update. I'm having a fantastic time. And this one is like back on the level of The Housemaid or even The Teacher. And I know that one is like really, I'm in the minority of people that liked that one because that one is unhinged and like messed up. I wouldn't say that this one is like messed up to the level of The Teacher because it's not dealing with like a minor or like an inappropriate relationship, at least not yet, but who knows what this twist is about to do. But I think it's more on that level of like unhingedness as The Housemaid. So if you liked that one, I think that you'll like this one as well. It's fun. I'm having fun with this. And that's sometimes like all you can ask from a Freida book. I'm gonna get back to reading this. I am on Patreon sprints right now, and I don't think I'm gonna do that many more sprints. This one may be the last one, but I do think that I will continue listening to this book even after we get off sprints because, like I said, I'm having fun. So I'm gonna go so I can finish packing up these bookmarks and call it a night. I feel like I'm very close to the camera, but Doyle is like right here, and he is not moving at all. So here we are. I finished The Tenant. 5 stars. 5 stars. This was so good. You know when I said I don't trust anybody? That was a great intuition. I definitely, yeah, holy shit. This was so, I mean, like, I was trying to think about it when I was finishing this book, so I finished it on the way to work this morning, and I was thinking about it. I was like, you know, first off, I was like, I don't know if this gives me, like, the 5-star vibes or whatever like that. Like, it's good, it's really good, but, like, did it really do something? And the more I thought about it, I was like, I have no critique. I have no critique. I have no suggestions. The last chapter, the way that this book ended, the last chapter, holy whatever. I don't know. I finished the book so that the last chapter ended right as I was getting off the freeway to go to work. And I have about like 4 minutes from like the time I get off the freeway to the time I park. And I just sat in silence because I was just like, well done. Bravo. I could not have seen that if I tried. So I do think, like, if you were a fan of The Housemaid, this is a fantastic book. Is it realistic? Absolutely not. Would this happen in real life? Like, probably not. Okay? There is the amount of, like, coincidences and the amount of things that had to fall in order for this to take place and for, you know, the stars to align exactly correctly. No, this is not realistic. But it's absolutely entertaining. So, I don't know. I have nothing bad to say about this book, so it's 5 stars. That's how we do things over here now. So anyways, we are going to move on to our final book, and that is going to be Dream on Ramona Riley. I just have to wait until Tuesday when it comes out to start it because I didn't get an arc for it, and it doesn't come out until, you know, for a couple days. So I'll see you in a few days once I start that book. Hello, we're doing a phone update and a mini mic update. I'm actually having a lot of fun with this mic, and so that's exciting. Anyways, I am about 100 pages into Dream on Ramona Riley. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with this title. I am not having a hard time reading this book. This book is so adorable. This book is so cute. It's baby gaze. It's like messy
And it's so much fun because there's some flashbacks from the scenes, like from when they were kids or teenagers, and they're like trying to kind of like figure out their sexuality, figure out that like, oh, she's cute. And then obviously like they go their separate ways. And so that's why like the second chance romance actually kind of works. I am a hard sell on second chance romances, but this one is working because obviously like they just went their separate ways. They, you know, they were together for a summer and then they went on and did their own thing and they grew up and now they're coming back as adults. And it's so adorable because it's like, does she remember me? Does she not? Like, remember we had that magical kiss? And I don't, just having such a good time with it. It is like very much the epitome of like the Bright Falls and what everybody loved about Delilah Green and Astrid Parker and Iris Kelly. This does take place in the same universe as the Bright Falls series, not in the sense that like these characters or the characters from Bright Falls are like in the book necessarily. So in the Bright Falls trilogy, Iris Kelly, in her book, she's essentially like trying to figure out her career and her path and stuff like that as an author. And in this one, her best-selling romance book is now being turned into this movie that these girls are a part of in one shape or form. So like it's the same universe, but you could 100% read them apart from each other. But yeah, I'm having the best time, and I was so worried. You know, not loving that Christmas romance. You know, I was. Here's the thing: like, obviously, you're not going to love every single book that an author puts out. You know, some of my favorite authors, I have books that, you know, I only gave 2 or 3 stars, and that's fine. But I was nervous just because the last one I didn't love. But this one it's doing everything that I wanted it to do, and it's a wonderful, like, perfect early summer like type of book. I'm just getting those warm feelings. I'm having a good time. I'm having a great time. So I think like my listening speed, I think it says I have 4 hours left of the audiobook. So theoretically I should be able to finish it during my work day today. We'll see what happens because it always ends up that, you know, there's something that comes up and every time I say, I'm going to finish this book, some ridiculous thing happens, and I really hope it doesn't because it's the last day that I'm in the office before I leave for vacation, which is exciting. And yeah, I need to get this finished. I need to get this video out because that was supposed to happen. I just wanted to come and talk to you and tell you that I love my baby A's and they're adorable. And it's, yeah. If you're participating in Amazing Readathon, this is going to be a book that you should pick up for a lot of reasons. This book would definitely fit the bonus prompt for the lore keepers. It definitely has a strong family element. One of our main characters, the reason that she's back in town is she is like caring for her sister after like she became the caretaker for her little sister. And so her little sister is like going off to college and she's like, I'm only 32, but I have an empty nest now. And I don't know, it was very cute. It was very, very cute. You could probably also say that it would fit for the Steel Watchers because it's primarily being taking place in this tiny town. So like it's not isolated in the fact that like it's only at this one house, but you can stretch that prompt 100%. And so like it is an isolated setting in the fact that we are doing it like almost entirely in this small town. There are like flashbacks to other areas, but I would count the prompt. So, and then obviously it would be a queer setting. That's my update. I need to go to work. I have no makeup on because I have been working around the house today, but I did finish Dream on Ramona Riley, and I think I'm giving it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't think that it lived up to like Astrid Parker just because like I feel like there was a little bit like, I don't know, maybe we were lacking in definition as far as like who the characters were. Even though they each had their own story, their own background, I feel like we didn't dive into that enough. However, I still really, really, really like it. I love Ashley's books. The smut, like Ashley can write some fantastic sapphic smut, okay? Fantastic. So yeah, I still really, really loved that. I still had a really good time with it. I think the family dynamics were really interesting. You know, it's messy. Like the book is messy. They have, you know, Ashley does love her tragic, you know, exes and the messiness that happens there because
we had that again. This was a very good iteration of, you know, reading new releases this month. So I'm happy with that. I am glad that it went well. You know, 3.5 stars for like the lowest rated book in a vlog is pretty good. And a 5-star and a 4-star, fantastic. So let me know down below either like a new release from May that you absolutely loved, or one that you are still like itching to get to. And if you're not feeling chatty, let's do a mushroom emoji, because there's like little mushrooms on here and that's adorable. If you want to see any of my other new release vlogs, I'm gonna put one here and one right here for you. And if you have any ideas for like future ideas for new release vlogs, future themes, let me know. That's all I have for you today. If you are new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little button that you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, and my Patreon are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!